What is up, everyone? It is your boy Thriller back, and we're doing another interview this time around for this upcoming season of the BBL. Gotta make sure I don't confuse it with PPL. The B is backwards and the P is upside down. So we are here with someone that I have definitely admired for this draft league scene. He's done so much. He is probably one of the main foundations of what makes draft league awesome, and he has one of the most impressive jawline features you'll ever see on face cam ever. It is Mr. Strong Jaw Mega Steelix himself, Joey, aka PokeaimMD.
Yo, what's up, man? Thank you so much for having me. It's gonna be a good time. I'm
Oh
excited.
yeah, man. I'm honestly this is one of those type of goals. Like I've always felt like, man, it would be really cool to do those interviews with Joey on if I could battle him. But since I don't have the stuff to get onto the Wi-Fi stuff, this is the closest thing. So it's gonna feel like a great old time.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely here. I'm excited to answer the questions. I love draft, and this is obviously something new for me playing Uber's draft. So let's get into it, bro. What
That
you want
actually
to do?
leads up to like the very first question I wrote down. I was like, what made you join this season? Like, were you just wanting to try Ubers, or have you just wanted to just always do a new league every once in a while?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I felt like I did everything I needed to do with regular leagues. I'd done, low tier, I'd done lower tier, I'd done higher tier, and I managed to win regular OE league, and then as well as low tier one. So I was like, Ubers is new, gives me something new, and then also it's interesting to have Terra captains be like open Terra. It's new for me in two regards, right? Playing open Terra draft with Terra preview and also playing Uber. So that's kind of what got me excited about it because I wanted to use a bunch of mons. My entire draft this season is literally a bunch of mons I have never drafted before. So I wanted to do something brand new with that.
Oh, that's true. And it's funny how you say open terror. I feel like that's gonna be your biggest challenge of this season is just to remember to tell your opponent, "Hey, this is my terror type." I want to make sure to remind you.
Yeah, I'm sure when I do mocks, I'll
You'll
have
have
to
the terror
practice
thing.
that.
It's weird
Yeah.
how Showdown just changed it now. When you have to do the challenges is when you have to actually do the whole terror preview thing. I just feel like it's weird.
No, I don't even like that. I'm actually just gonna do regular ones and just tell them in the beginning because seeing everybody's terror actually just confuses me because I've done a few of those for other people that I've helped out, and I just did not.
And you see
I
a lot
did
of
not
people
like.
doing like all these are Terra bug except the one that's actually not a different Terra.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
Yeah. So actually, speaking of the nickname you have here, who actually gave you the nickname Strongjaw?
Uh, hmm. It's been a while. I feel like that might have been Shofu or like
See,
Shizzy, maybe years, like
I can hear if I was
years
Shofu
ago.
giving you that rhyme because he's always spitting bars every time.
Young Strong Jaw, yeah. I wasn't really because but then again, also it could have just been the comment section, right? Like
Possibly, yeah. Comments usually give us our
I haven't
nicknames a lot
said
of
this.
the time.
I don't usually say this stuff about me, right? Like I'll make reference to it, but I don't usually say the stuff about me. So
It's
it
true.
definitely has to be. It definitely has to be one of them.
Oh yeah, and this is the if you guys have never seen Joey's Discord profile, you'll see it probably most likely his streams and other interviews he's done. He's had the same Discord image probably for like 20 years at this point. It's just Fabio wearing a beanie at this time. Exactly where did Fabio come up with a nickname for an Ampharos, and why has he become such an iconic piece of you?
Well, it's definitely because of Mega Ampharos and the series Hita Fajita, which was a series I used to have with Blender back in the day, CCBB, and a bunch of our old friends. Um, and we just kind of called Ampharos Fabio because of the long, luscious hair that it looked like, consider just like Fabio. I don't know if you've ever seen Fabio.
Yeah,
So
before it was I saw him
it
before
kind
the
of just
bird
stuck.
incident.
Yes. Yeah. it kind it kind of just stuck and I started streaming on Twitch during that time, so I made that my Twitch icons, like the little things where people sub to me, they can use those.
Yep.
And so I just kind of stuck with that even these years to come. And I like the beanie. I like wearing a beanie a lot, especially in winter, obviously. And yeah, I kind of just went from there.
Yeah, I
It's been
remembered watching
it's
some
something
of
like
your old UCO content. Every time you saw Fabio whip his hair, you go like, "Flu, the flu." I love that every
we're bringing
time.
back memories, dude, from 10 years ago almost.
I
That's
know, yeah.
crazy.
For the reason I just keep watching your UCL stuff. By the way, are we ever gonna see you use the well played bear tick? Come on, the fans are dying to know this.
I have so if it's lower tier draft, I actually think Beartick is a real threat, and it's always a pain to prep against. I probably will draft it eventually. I don't see why I wouldn't if I do another one after this. I have no idea what I'm doing after BBL. I've not
That's
looked that
true.
far ahead just because this draft league will be taking about 2 months. Typically, I start looking for the next draft, maybe towards the middle of a season slash
End
towards
of it,
near the
yeah.
end. So I just because I want something having not necessarily at all times. There can be a month in between, a little break,
Yeah.
but I like knowing that something else is coming up soon. So yeah, I don't know.
No, that's smart. That's
Hopefully soon.
smart.
I love Bear Tick. I'm a big fan of it.
I actually remembered I drafted it, and it was one of my Terra captains. And the first week, I got like 3 kills, and he got thumbnail for it. So
Dude, Mon's good. Mon is
he's
good.
honestly a sleeper
Loaded
pick.
dice
I
is good
don't.
on it too.
Oh yeah, a lot of people don't like respect it. And speaking of like the Mons we've ever seen, what's with the disrespect with Zangoose? Why did he deserve to be the main Mon every time we see a video, whether it's a short or your video, he's literally getting bonked in the head by the Mon of the theme. Like what did he do? I mean, Team Survivor Gang is the best, I know that. But what did Zangoose do to deserve this, man?
Well, it started as just something easy just to show as a target because the normal type is pretty, unless you're a ghost type, like all your moves will hit it.
Yeah.
So then we noticed people started like saying, "Oh man, no, Zangoose rights and stuff." So we kind of played into the joke and continued him instead of changing the mon every single time. That's literally it. Like the mon would have not have been the it would not have been the same mon if not for people complaining about it.
That's true, man. Also, speaking of the Ubers League, how did you convince Chimp to come back? Because I think a lot of us thought after SPL we were going to see Chimp do another draft league. So, did you just wanted to offer it and see if he actually wanted to do it or not?
Yeah, Chimp was like, "Are you doing another draft?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do Ubers. Do you want to do Ubers?" He's like, "Maybe I'll think about it." And that wasn't good enough for me, so I kept asking him every couple of weeks, especially because we were getting closer and closer to the start. And eventually, he was like, "You know what? Fine, I'll do it. I got somebody that'll help me with building, and I want to do that type of content anyway." So it was a nice surprise to see him say yes, especially because I know I was bugging him with it forever, but he knows it's something that he does enjoy battling, believe it or not.
Yeah,
And it gives him something alongside his Jeopardy and other game shows to just have fun with.
I'm gonna say every time I see it looks like a Chimpact video, it's nothing but Jeopardy. He's gonna be the new Alex Trebek to Pokemon.
That's him. That's Big Chimp. I hope it goes
I
far
remember I was
too.
binging a lot of his, and I actually was playing along, and I got some of them, and some of them actually really stumped me for a while.
It's definitely easier when watching than while playing, especially because sometimes we record like really, really, really late at night too, after like a full day of work, or people come home like Edgar or something like that. And it's like, yeah, let's play this. And then we're like out of it. So you'll see us really, really fool around. The thing about Jeopardy is also it's just our whole group of friends the whole time for the most part. So it turns into podcast the show instead of just straight up
Yeah,
Jeopardy, which some people do like, some people don't.
I remember back
But
when you guys
overall,
first did it, you had to start going beep 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 your voices instead of actually
yes,
having buzzers.
yes. And there used to be a judge there that had to tell you which one said it first, and then you'd argue if they picked someone else over you. I was like, no,
I
it
I
was
would just
me.
hear Moa going like, "Dude, I clearly buzzed in first. Clearly buzzed in first."
Good
I
freaking times, man.
Yeah. So speaking of your friends, there was one friend that I actually really liked that I got to know from watching his content because it was like the first league you guys came back, and that was Mephisto, the Dawn, the Dawn, the Dawn, the Dawn. And my curiosity is, how did you meet Mephisto?
I've known Mephisto since Generation 4. He was just in a group with myself, Shofu, and a few others. And there were times where we didn't talk because just IRL stuff happened, but he has
Hmm.
been like a friend for forever. And we've always gotten in contact throughout the years. And up until recently as well, we got even closer. Um, and we were able to get him to jump into the draft. He was actually in the BBL, but he had to leave due to some actual fortunate, not unfortunate, but some fortunate stuff that's happening in real life that just honestly made matters were more important.
Oh yeah,
But
100%.
yeah, just playing Gen 4. Honestly, that's how I met him,
That's
and we used
crazy.
to
I did
play
not think
together
you
all the
guys
time
went
back
all the
then.
way back. I thought he was one of those kind of like near the end of like Gen 7, Gen 8 era where you guys met up. But
Nah,
to y'all
bro,
get
he was
that all
uploading.
that
He
way
was
back,
uploading
that's
back in the day
crazy.
too.
That's nice.
I said that again. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah,
didn't know
he
he
was
was
up.
that far back that you knew him from. I thought he was like more on the Gen 7, Gen 8 areas when you met him, but I didn't think of Gen 4, so
No,
that's actually kind of cool.
no, he's one of my oldest friends.
Damn, that's great, man. He's also
Yeah, he
since
was
he's the
around
Don, he's the
Choco era.
funniest. He's the funniest, as he would say, the funniest motherfucker up in this speech.
Yeah, he has a
I
good time, man. He always has a good
I
time.
absolutely love it. And then the push up montage, it looks like he's saying he does 100 when he probably does 20.
That's
So
my
you
boy, man.
and he has the best camera work. Everyone agrees except one person, and
Nope.
that's the one
Nope.
person.
That guy gives me a headache while watching his videos.
It's like you love him, but you
But
hate him.
I mean, it's literally that. It literally
Yeah.
is that.
So you've
But
had
he
a
just
lot
wants
of
to have fun while drafting.
oh yeah, 100%. I absolutely love how he has fun. You've had a lot of channel mascots between Miltank, I would say Fabio at this point, even Beartick with how long you've ran with the Bearticks for a long time. You've had team mascots with Dreepies, the there was another team I think after the Dreepies. Was it the
Bronze
Wakers?
Bear Ticks. It's Bronze Bear Ticks, Wakers, and Dreepies. Yeah.
Okay, I felt like you had another team for some reason. You've also had things like Latios and Miltank as your channel mascots for such a long time. And you've said that your favorite Pokemon is Suicune. How we've never seen you use Suicune yet? Is it just because it's a water that doesn't fit a team you draft with? And if
I
you ever
mean,
do keep
it has been a
drafting,
it has been an option. It has been an option once to draft. But I mean, for the same reason I don't use it a lot, I do use it a lot in Generation 4, and I actually played a lot of stall back then too. I just it's not always fun to watch. So I don't use mons
that's a
that are
fair
not
thing.
necessarily like I won't use it as much. Yeah.
I
People don't like being pressure stalled
I feel like I
for the
feel
most
like
part.
those Suicune has become a lot more badder though because of Gen 9, which I think makes it at least both usable but unusable at the same time.
It's a mix for sure. I mean, people are still gonna hate getting sub pressure stalled, which is
That is
the
true.
the big thing. But
Everyone's
um,
big thing.
I don't know. I just like I use it in tournaments occasionally,
Oh
but that's
yeah.
about it.
And speaking of your friends, this is like one of the last few friend questions I have. We gotta talk about your homie Pedro, the man that builds you some of the most fire videos when it comes to team builder slides, and some of the badass art pieces we see for draft analysis. With every Pokemon wearing like legit jerseys that look realistic. Like, how does
That
Pedro have God status work in his name?
Pedro has been working with me since 2015. He is a longtime friend as well, and honestly, I would not be here without him. He did all my Drop a Draco merch, and like honestly, we have worked with each other so long. He has just gotten better and better, and it's a pleasure. Like he only works with me part time right now, which is why you haven't seen him in intros in every single video and a bunch of shorts as well.
Yeah.
But he's just literally the best. Like honestly, he's top tier. If I could clone Pedro, I would, just because he could live here with me, and we just work together all the time. He's
And then
really freaking good, man.
we just see those text edits where it says "Send help, please." So
Put him in the
I whenever
basement.
we see in your team builders, we always see that you have always specifically EV'd your Pokemon to live this or do this. How do you usually come up with the idea that I want this Pokemon to live this said hit from that Pokemon? How do these builds come up with?
Well, a lot of it comes from mocks as well. Like, what situations are these Pokemon going to be in? If I have a Landorus Therian and my opponent has a Gliscor or a Great Tusk, usually Landorus Therian is going to be a pivot into those. So, okay, I want to be able to take at least one Ice Spinner, maybe two with a Citrus Berry off the top of my head and intimidate. It's just without thinking about the situations and even in practice with mocks that go from there. But you'll also have some seasons where I'll just run 2v2, 2v2 on some of my mons because it doesn't really matter. Like some of the mons, like Petron, for instance, can get away with 2v2, 2v2. Like I did a lot the whole season. It was just so good at what I needed to do.
Yeah, that's how it was when I
Um,
first did a draft. When I first ever did, that's all I ever did because I didn't think about the whole thing. It wasn't until I started watching Dan, aka A Drive, when he did his Twitch Battle League, and I actually saw him do these in-game preps before his showdown matches, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And that's how I actually think I started getting better in my league status and stuff after watching that. So it's just really interesting to see how your builds always go because it's always unique how you have all these specific spreads.
yeah, a lot of that just comes from practice, but again, sometimes it's not even necessary. Sometimes I'll go is as light as I need to go if the mon gets the job done. Like
Oh yeah.
it's always like that. Like if I need the mon to do more, I'll do more. If not, we're good.
Oh yeah. So when you usually draft, regarding of what type of format you're playing, what is your main way you like to build a team?
Cool Pokemon that are very strong and also Pokemon that people might have tiered, in my opinion, wrong.
Petulant.
Yeah, literally. That's why my round one, I'll take something like the B tier Petron, which should have been easily an A, and that mon was easily an MVP
And
in that
arguably
season.
banned.
Yeah, it should not be.
Yeah. But speaking of teams, since you've already shown, if people don't know, if you check out Joey's streams, which you should definitely check out, they're a lot of fun. He does a lot of crazy stuff that makes him lose his mind and has sleep paralysis demons, but he enjoys it. So you actually have a command where it shows off your next draft league teams. Exactly what did you want to do? Obviously, it's fitting the theme that you did, but how did you build this team? Did you like wanted like a multiple win con type of style build with hazard support from several mons, or did you just really just want to draft stuff you just didn't use?
So with the BBL specifically, a lot of it came with what I wanted to use first, right? I was debating between Mewtwo and Magearna, and the only reason I didn't go Magearna is because I didn't think I'd get another good Uber if I got Magearna, because I wasn't guaranteed a good one. I got second in this, so it'd be forever till I get one. And while I could get like any of the bottom tiers for it, it still wasn't guaranteed that I could get something. So I ended up with Mewtwo, which looked really good because it automatically gave me some speed tiers. And it was like, okay, well, what's good against Psychic? Oh, well, Psychic is weak to Dark, so I want some Dark resist. Oh, Psychic is weak to Bug, so I want some Bug resist. Oh, also, what broken mons are available to Tera that I want to use? And like the Tera mons that are usually busted in high tier Tera are like Zarude, Raging Bull, Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Grass, Tornadus Therian are usually considered S class. So usually around there was where I was going with my head, and I kind of just went with whatever was available at the time. Like I mean, you saw my round seven pick, which was pretty crazy,
Yeah, the
and then I was
gouging
able to get it.
fire.
Yeah, very excited about that
I
for
know that's
sure.
the
But
one
the,
I
my
think I'm
most
the
excited
most
team,
excited for you to use.
I'm just gonna click Dragon Dance every week.
Or just click. You know what's funny? I actually did that for a draft league game. I led with it, clicked Dragon Dance once or twice, and they 6-0 swept right off the lead.
I mean, that's what Uzi's been doing, like a lot. He had a couple weeks where he just set up and just won. So,
That's true. He also got a lucky flinch, but he doesn't acknowledge it. But poor Jay Ricky. So you have played this format from all the past gens to the current gen. From the past or the present, in your opinion, not counting yourself, who do you think is the best player in draft?
uh, it- on Wi-Fi or like
It
in
can be
general.
anything from Wi-Fi, showdown, tournaments, anything.
I mean, on Showdown, you have like the Mount Rushmore of people, right? Like Zazo and Dylan and those people, especially in previous generations, Matty Brawley, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure though. I I'm honestly not sure. I do really like Dylan. I think he's really good. And Obviously, I've always been a fan of Zazo's builds. On Wi-Fi, I really like watching Mount stuff, and I think
Yeah.
that Uzi's obviously really good too, and that he
Uh-huh.
pilots his teams pretty well and gets some broken mons too. So it's tough to
Oh yeah.
say. I just like winning for the content, to have more content to upload. Getting to
Yeah.
finals is usually a goal because I want content. Though sometimes I just get tired and I'm okay with whenever I lose,
Yeah,
like
I've always
PPL.
been in that mentality where I just want to make playoffs. I mean, I've won 10 championships, but they're like, those are just the extras for me. I feel like if your goal is to always consistently make playoffs, then you know you're like, okay, I can make any team work. I'm consistently getting better each time. And you just, championships are just a bonus, in my opinion.
No, I agree, but it is pretty cool. Like winning
Oh,
three
yeah.
this
I remember there
this
was this funny, weird team league I joined that did like a UU and below league, but allowed stuff like Contrary Serve, Shell Smash Blastoise. This is, I think, with Hidden Power
Jesus.
also still being allowed for it wasn't even like a
Isn't
net.
Tera Shell Smash Blastoise like broken?
I mean, no, it wasn't Terra. This was UU. This was back in Gen 8 is what I meant to say, type of thing. And I pretty much only lost one game the whole time, and I had like a 6-0 sweep in finals. Yeah, they weren't smart
Jesus
with the
Christ.
allowed, but I mean, if you're there, I'll take advantage of it.
I
But
mean,
speaking of,
Stoice is disgusting, dude, with Shell Smash. I've seen it do crazy things as well, even this gen.
oh yeah, man, Blastoise really is starting to get some decent popularity out there, and just so much of another Mons. And but speaking of the league stuff, out of all the leagues you've done, whether it's past or present, or obviously the future with BBL, What has been your favorite league to do?
One of them probably had to be the PPL that I won, just because I really liked my team. I think it was really cool showing that you don't need hazard support to or hazard control to win in draft. So I really, really, really like that. And when I drafted that team, everyone was like, "It's a cool team, but it has multiple psychics, and you don't have the hazard control, so you're pretty weak to spikes." I was like, "Yeah, but I also have Samurai, and it sets up its hazards while attacking. If you set up hazard versus me, there's a chance you just lose mons." Um, so that was definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite draft. I did like my Petrant stuff in the P4G as well. That was another one of them. I got a lot of cool mons in those. Uh, I don't know. I'm hoping
Shoutouts
this
to
one
Tera.
becomes one of my favorite because I love my team.
Shoutouts
I
to
love all of my mons on
Tera.
my team.
Yeah, shoutouts to Tera Flapple, by the way. Goated Tera captain. Don't know why he's ranked so low in points.
Dude, I think Terra grass types are insane.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of great usages and stuff like that. So obviously, I had mentioned this
But
to you, but obviously, you probably get other people saying this to you. But I want your opinion on this. How do you feel knowing that there's so many people that reference you as probably the best draft league player?
I mean, I don't think that's true. I think I play okay. I don't think I always play well. And they only have the reference as me on Wi-Fi. Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of showdown or if any showdown drafts.
Hmm.
Um, but I do know that I can hold my own. Just because it's Pokemon, anybody can hold their own against anybody. And I think that if anybody preps hard enough, they can win.
Yeah.
So
There were definitely some
that's
matchups for
good.
me. Like have actually taken on Vepsis a few times, and I actually also had the opportunity to face against Addison. Like I always wanted to be able to test myself against some of these people that have actually really had watched and decently get close to it. And I remember the second time I faced Vapsis, I was so confident in control of the whole game, made every play right, and I was able to pick up probably my biggest win, which is against Vapsis, because I knew how amazing of a player is, and that just made me feel like, okay, I know how good I am. I can handle with the best, and it just made me super proud in that moment.
Yeah, sometimes when you play people that you know are good as well, it becomes a little bit easier because you expect them to make certain plays. Um, I like playing from the back sometimes because it forces me to think about how to like actually win, even if it requires my opponent to throw slash choke or just not play optimally because it's hard to play 100% 100% of the time. If you played 100% 100% of the time, like you'd be the best player,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like always. Like there's
100%.
nothing else, but nobody can do that. There's always going to be breaks. There's always going to be opening, and Pokemon has a lot of psychological stuff behind it as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
but it's always nice. Like one of my favorite things to do is play someone who looks up to me and then beat them. It's like, yeah.
That's always funny. This is my one funny question I had. So, if you were to ever have a kid one day and they eventually got into Pokemon, were liking it, and then eventually stumbled across your videos and saw how you play like either draft or competitive Pokemon, if your kid ever went up to you and be like, "Dad, can you teach me?" Would you be willing to teach your son or daughter to be the next PokeaimMD?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever have a kid, but like if that ever happens, yeah, I would teach them anyway. I, I
Yeah.
would, I would legitimately teach them anyway. Like I have no reason to hide. This is probably going to be my work for as long as I can.
Yeah.
And if not, then I mean, I still my love for Pokemon. The only reason I'll stop this is if either I can't make enough money to survive off this, or if I stop loving Pokemon. Those are the only two ways that I'd ever stop.
Oh yeah,
So
100%.
they'd hella learn always.
Hmm.
Play with me. They could watch. Even my dogs sit on me and watch the game sometimes.
I
So
remember because like I remember you kept saying, "Puka, it's okay. Puka, it's okay."
yeah, she's on my lap. So she hears something at the door. So sometimes she'll go like
Yeah, dogs are
type
great.
stuff. I love Puka and Eevee so
Yeah.
much.
Since returning, obviously you've got the experience to work with a lot of Gen 9 mons, but also you've gotten a chance to work with some mons from past gens that were evil in the game. So you give me two answers here. From a mon that's not from Gen 9, what has been your favorite to use in Gen 9? And what's your favorite Gen 9 Pokemon you've used so far overall?
I think so. A mon that's in Gen 9 and not Gen 9, or just
So
Gen 9 overall.
like imagine like a mon like Crocodile's in Generation 9, but he's a Gen 5 mon. So something like that. Like a mon from a past gen that's
Okay,
in
okay,
Gen
okay.
9 since some are cut from the deck still.
My favorite mon to lose, it might have been Urshifu Rapid Strike. Honestly, like it's kind of crazy. The dude just clicks Surge and Strikes every week. which I think is really cool. But if it wasn't Urshifu Rapid Strike, I really, really, hmm, well, Palafins from this generation. I really like Palafin or Shifu Rapid Strike. Those waters are really cool. Or Shifu Rapid Strike, I think for sure though. That mon just clicks buttons. Um, I also, but from this generation, I think Arbalava might have to be my favorite draft mon. I like that mon so much. It's always so cheap too for no reason. It's really, really good. Like
You're
it
one of the
is
only people that I've
very
seen
good.
just destroy people. And like that, like you had the sick prep versus Lepsis against this Deancey that went in the trick room too. Like that was some
Yeah,
next level prep.
it did really well versus Playmore too. It kind of just did not have to switch in that game. Mon's just good, dude.
Yeah, people
I
go
like
like
Arbalava a lot.
it's like when people lose to it, like, man, I lost to an olive branch tree.
It hasn't died this season.
And that's when Joey goes like, okay, don't use our Baba for the rest of the season. Stays undefeated. So when it comes to Gen 9 with your return, what has been your overall favorite battle you've done this gen? I think one of those really up there for me was the one with Uzi for season 1 of SPL for how damn near close that battle was at the end. It literally came down to those last two turns.
That was a good one. I think one of my other games versus Uzi was week 8 of SPL season 2, where we played, and then I was in the back and I made doubles with Lycanroc Dusk. Actually, that might be my favorite mon. That's not from Gen 9. Lycanroc Dusk is so cool. I've drafted so much. Thunderous as well. Um, I've drafted them so much, but yeah, that battle versus Uzi. I think it was week 8 or week 7 of SPL season 2, and I just made a lot of doubles with it. I never stone edged with it because I didn't have it, but I always click close combat into Dragapult, into Articuno, Galarian, etc., etc. So I think it was that mon, like that
Yeah,
battle and that mon for sure. It was
especially when
just
we
a
made
good
that
game where I had to
hard.
fight back.
Yeah, when you especially made that hard read in, I think it was in finals as well, when you called the Tera Steel and the Articuno and you close combat with your Lycanroc.
Yeah, that was week 8. That was week 8.
Oh, that
But
was
yeah,
weekend. I
it
thought that
wasn't
was the
finals.
finals.
It was like
Oh,
the final week before playoffs.
oh, okay, okay.
Um, but that was a good one in my opinion. Like I
Yeah.
really, really, really enjoyed that one. There's a
And
lot of
speaking
good
of,
games like that
when
too.
I say speaking of another water you like, there's the duck. The duck carried you in the finals there.
Oh, Quackable is broken. That
All
mon is
right.
like Cartana.
Yeah, if it gets just that one speed boost, it just steamrolls.
Literally just wins, and
Yep.
I am a huge fan.
Yep. So with this Uber's draft, do you feel like Ubers can be a competitive league format? And also, if you're thinking about it, if you're doing Ubers, should Terra be allowed? And if Terra should be allowed, how do you feel like Terra should be managed?
I mean, I think Ubers can easily be a competitive format. I mean, you look at Ubers as well, just in general, especially early Ubers when there's not a lot of mons. It's usually 1, 2 Ubers, and then your OU mons that work well there: Tinglu, Iron Treads, Skeleturge, et cetera, Quagsire that deal with whatever's allowed. In this case, like I have one Uber on my team, right? I guess technically two if you count gouging fire. But I have one Uber on my team, and a lot of other teams are very, very similar. Like Shuckle King has a bunch of great mons, a bunch of legendaries, but he only has one Uber. So I think it's completely fine. It's like having super high tier um, Terra cap slash Z cap slash just best mon on the team, and then it's just as like draft, right? Like, oh, okay, so you have Calyrex Ice. All right, let's all draft our bulky waters that hopefully can deal with it. That's a threat no matter what, but that
Mhm.
hopefully can deal with that mon. Um, Terra definitely. I think the Ubers cannot Terra. That's what makes them too broken. So the Ubers cannot Terra for sure.
Oh yeah,
And some high tier mons I think can't Terra either because if you can get, you know, if you can get Calyrex Ice plus like what is
Zerking
a
Gambit.
credible high tier? Say like King Gambit. Gambit it can Terra. Gambit's okay, but like Calyrex Ice plus like um a Chiempao type Terra, or like Calyrex Ice plus like Palafin with Terra. That sounds disgusting
It
type
does.
stuff. But if you limit, like I like the way they limited stuff here. I think that was the way to do it. I'm okay with the BBL, and I try not to have too much of an opinion because it's brand new and I have not played it. Whereas they did extensive testing, extensive tournaments and stuff,
Oh yeah.
which only just finished recently. But yeah,
So with the
that's
talk
my big
about
one.
Terra, this is the big question that I feel like you might have answered a couple of times when people have asked you this. But what is your overall opinion on Terra? Is it a fun mechanic, a garbage mechanic, or just a mechanic that you can live with, but it's not great?
Absolutely a fun mechanic, and it's so cool in draft as well. Like I love it. I love making mons that are because like after a while, draft does get standardized, right? Like if you do
Mhm.
high tier drafts in generation 7, 8, people are usually drafting the same Pokemon that are allowed. They get their Shifu if that's allowed. They get their Tapu Koko if that's allowed. Uh, and then they get their rather Spiker, their Lanners Therian, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas in this case, yeah, you'll have people drafting X Mons in the first round picks, right? Dragon Ball, Iron Val, et cetera, et cetera. But the team starts to really, really spread out towards the end, and you get to see a lot of cool mons put in a ton of work. For
Oh,
example, Hisuian Electrode is actually, in my opinion, a really, really, really good Terra captain, just because of its speed control, and it really only needs Volt Switch, Grass Move, plus Terra, Fairy, or Ice if you want to do anything. So I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of that and what it can do in this format, and I love Terra. I really do. I
I
don't
think
think it's broken at all. I
yeah,
think
I
you have
think
if
Tera
as
has
long.
honestly saved some mons to actually be very viable. Like you look at a mon like Frostmoth. If it never got in power, no one would ever draft that. But now with Terra, it becomes one of the most potent sweepers in even OU to a certain extent if you get it set up right.
Yeah, I mean Arboliva, right? It goes from just a 3 point whatever normal grass to a demon,
Yeah,
like
so
literally a demon.
yeah, so when it comes to the whole thing with draft, and for some people that know, the Pokemon Showdown trailer video you saw, that was done by Joey way back in the day. So anytime you load up Showdown and you say to play online and you see a video, that's Joey's legit video that he did for Showdown. And I always felt like you've been like this ambassador of draft. So what is it like feeling like that?
It's pretty crazy to see that people do play competitive Pokemon because of me. But at the end of the day, that's why I started my channel. Uzi was the one who made the trailer based on what I told him, which I was so
Oh,
excited about, and I'm happy that he did editing for it, and I'm really, really, really happy that he did it. And yeah, it's just crazy, right? Because again, I started my channel because I want to show people my battles, but also I wanted to um I wanted people to play the game I love, and they do, you know,
yep.
they
And
do, and
you
that's that's all I want.
Yep. And speaking of with all that, you obviously are going to be leaving a good old legacy when eventually you do leave draft, and who knows if you leave YouTube as well, who knows. But what do you want people to remember with your legacy that you leave behind?
That damn, he made Pokemon look fun. That's all I want. At the end of the
That,
day, that's
no,
really all
yeah,
I want. Like, wow,
100%.
like even if people left, like even if people stopped playing or a point, I want them to be like, you know what? When I enjoyed Pokemon, he made it look fun. I got into it because of you. That was cool. And
Oh,
that's it.
100%. So,
Don't ever
Joey, I
ask
want
for
to just
anything.
say this has been an absolute pleasure and a dream come true for me because you literally have been the biggest inspiration for so many people. And like ever since you've returned, you have done nothing but help grow people to be able to want to do this as their own full-time jobs. Like I know you've helped people like Owen, John, D-Ray, Kirby, and other people as well get to like 1,000 subscribers so they get monetized and stuff so they can start making this their career. Like you've been just a big help to so much, and I want to just say thank you so much.
No, of course, dude. Like honestly, thank you so much for having me. I want to grow the draft scene. If one person grows, we all grow. That's kind of it. If people, the more eyes on Pokemon, the better for literally everybody.
Oh, 100%.
That's it.
Well, thank you all so much for watching. This has been a fantastic interview. Joey, thank you for taking the time out of your day and whatever business life you have going on in your world right now to take some time to talk. It's been a real fun time.
No, thank you so much for having me as well, fam. It's been a great time.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.